Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to New York City. It is nighttime over Manhattan right now, and we are enjoying a wonderful evening of Dota 2 action, courtesy of ESL One New York. And we thank Arteezy and Universe for their participation in the matchmaking. You join us back at the T-Mobile desk with myself, Piri and Flax, Seb, Melk, and the Giraffe. Yeah, that's right. He's a bit taller. He's a bit taller than the rest of us. So, you know, can we get up now?
Yeah, on my knees.
Oh, blimey, how do you do that? I mean, he's a tall lad, but the Giraffe, I don't know.
Are you 2 meters?
No, 193.
Right. Nothing on Puppy. Whatever.
Like
getting back to the serious stuff. OMG, what a game!
This is quite the series,
Isn't it just? Yeah, absolutely. We're going to get in and pick some bands very shortly for Game 3 of this series, but I want to talk about Admiral Bulldog without being too... Because I'm not a pro player, and obviously it would be very mean of me to say that there were some odd things going on.
I mean, Lord knows I've had my share of bad games. I am probably not the first one that called people out on their performance, but...
Just summarise how bad that rider was.
I mean, his early game especially was...
Early to mid-game, because late game was much better.
If Revost is a 4 on 10, then that was probably a 1 on 10, 0 on 10 bad rider in both games. Honestly, he's just really underperforming, and if they are able to win a game 4 versus 5, basically that it was even, I mean, maybe sometimes the 4 versus 5 would have been better because he just kept on giving kills for no reason.
Yeah.
Then they can, if Bulldog steps up his game, and he's one of the best players in the world, honestly, then the game is going to be super easy for Alliance. Just waiting Bulldog to actually wake up, or I'm not sure.
And even going into the late game in that game, like all it really took Alliance to execute their combo semi-well, and the game would have been over. But it took them 20 minutes from they got the refresher orbs on Silencer and Necroplus to the point where they actually executed it. So it was sort of like stressful seeing Loda just desperately telling himself, I'm not going to lose on the account of my teammates. I'm just going to keep on carrying, keep on pulling through. Amazing Sunders coming out of him twice. Like the one, obviously, at the top rune in the river where he got it. Instead of dying, he got a triple kill. And then in the base where he's like, he doesn't have buyback. And he just runs straight at 2 heroes with 10% HP. He gets a Sunder off and kills both of them. And it's like, Loda's just... on a performance of a lifetime right now.
Oh yeah, really.
It's also good to see him sundering Aki there in the base.
Yeah, that was funny. Aki was just sort of
Aki's like a battery in the back. Recharge me, Aki.
Let me do this. Go to the fountain, man. I got this.
There was a couple of occasions that happened as well. There was one just outside the EG base, and there was another one in their own base at the same time. Both times looked like he was a dead man walking, and he was going to go down, and both times survived. Would it be a stretch to say that he carried that hard?
Loda?
Yeah.
A stretch?
Yeah, most definitely.
Oh, I'd say that would be like, that was it. I mean, if he hadn't been, I think if he hadn't...
I mean, I almost feel like I'm doing a disservice to his teammates by saying he carried them, but he did in that game.
He's also the only reason they stayed alive in the first game as well. Honestly, it's Loda just carrying Alliance in both games. So
well, Misery did his part too, I'd say.
Yeah. In the second game, definitely.
Yeah. And Honey in the second game, eventually, like they twigged. Okay, we've got to get rid of Venomancer first, and then we can let him do his thing. And they finally twigged that out.
Exactly.
Late game.
You could make a case that Arca played it the way he did, but he was too conservative on those ultimates, especially because he had the refresher orb up and going. He technically had 2 ultimates. He was never in a position where he would get caught out. So great play on him in terms of the positioning, but he was so conservative that he just by all means just wanted to nullify that black hole. And the real damage actually came from the Venomancer ulti. If they could have globaled and just started focusing the Veno much earlier, Loda wouldn't have had issues with surviving these fights.
Okay, so we're in Game 3. Draft is well underway. We've got a first pick of the day. Vengeful Spirit is in the Alliance lineup with Face of the Void, and Nature's Prophet and Brewmaster already picked for EG.
Really mixing it up, making Void the first overall pick suddenly in this series. That's something we don't really see that often anymore, but it looks like Alliance just has a completely different plan for this game.
Notice how Bad Rider has been ignored.
That's really bad. It's like, okay, man.
Yeah, no one's going to pick it, and no one's going to ban it.
Do you think you can get someone in the Chronosphere? I think I do. I'm getting Void, first pick.
So here's my question. I've got a question for you guys, okay? So in that last game, where EG had a Naga Siren that they didn't sort of try to turn into a sort of classic Naga Siren, you know, why do people not try and out late game Alliance? Like, why didn't they say, hey, we're going to make our Naga Siren do what Terrorblade's doing to us?
You want to outlate game 8-slotted Terrorblade.
But that's the thing, is like if they started earlier,
Yes.
like if they tried earlier, I mean, obviously once it's 50 minutes in, it's like, okay, but...
I think really Malini was spot on when he said they really just needed to sort of ball up and go high ground earlier and just really make use of the Venomance and have Fear just go in and do a sacrifice for the greater good. But yeah, I mean, I think EG played really well throughout. I was surprised by how long they kept themselves in the game. When you're playing against a refresher or Garnum Scepter...
Arteezy played...
Arteezy played out of his mind.
Yeah.
Really, he was really impressive. He's a beast with the Death Prophet, really. It was so impressive.
Reserve time.
But it was just it's incredibly hard lineup to play against. I mean, Silencer and of course the Terribly.
Batrider.
Yeah, and a Batrider. So yeah, I mean... Tough game.
Yeah, really tough game, and it's amazing to see how Alliance can switch, you know, from one pick to the other. Right now, they revealed nothing. Obviously, the Venge pick might be a deny pick for, in the sense that they don't want EG to get the Venge against the Void. I think it's a really good hero, like the swap ability versus the Chronosphere. Really good ability to have. Right now, everything's open for Alliance. It could be we've seen Loda play that position 1 Void. Obviously, it can be an offlane Void for Bulldog as well. So they didn't reveal much.
10 seconds remaining.
And they're going for greedy supports again.
We got a Siren band, we got a Terrorblade band, we got a DP band, so there's definitely a new game by all accounts. There's not going to be anything similar to the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Well, apart from the fact that we've got Abaddon in there.
That's a very early Abaddon. It's really risky to announce an Abaddon pick that early in the game.
That's the same as game 1, right?
Yeah.
And it was
Game 1
third pick game 1 as well?
I'm not sure. Second
Maybe
phase.
third or fourth.
Yeah. I can't really remember.
Yeah.
I mean, the game were quite long. So it's like 3 hours ago, right?
It was about 3 hours ago,
It's like 10k creeps to go.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. So I can't really remember.
What are you guys' thoughts on a Gyrocopter?
For Alliance?
Yeah, I feel like it's a hero that's been seeing or could see a bit of resurgence.
It's really good versus
lately.
Brewmaster.
Yeah.
It's really good versus Brewmaster.
I think they're going to pull out the Dragon Knight now for this game.
For EG.
EG.
Right?
Yeah.
It's pretty good here. The swap is worrying, but Dragon Knight is really tanky against Visage and Void. It's going to be very hard to bring him down, I think.
I mean, the other way around, they might actually go for the Necrophos this time around.
Can
They could
Alliance
do that too.
Can Alliance pick a Spectre? Or is it
That's too
overkill
greedy,
with the
I
Void?
think. But I also said last game's draft was too greedy.
I mean, the reason I said Gyrocopter was because Spectre was a bit counterintuitive when you have the Chronosphere.
Yeah, of course.
5 seconds remaining.
But yeah,
I think if you're Alliance, you're rather looking at a carry who, if you want to play the Void in the offlane role, which we aren't sure if they're going to do yet, but if they do that, I think you're looking at a carry who can really synergize well with the Chronos. I'm thinking something like Gyro is good.
Is Morphling okay here?
Morphling, maybe. I generally think short-range carries aren't that good together with Void, because it puts a lot of pressure on you for the Chronosphere to be put in a very specific position, but very long-range carries can do a great job. I wouldn't be too surprised seeing Alliance pull out a sniper in this game.
Oh, yeah.
I actually think this is a good sniper game so far.
It's a very good sniper game.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even like the new sniper.
I play a lot of sniper right now.
It's really strong.
They don't really have any. They don't have any way of catching the sniper apart from the Brewmaster, and even then they have the swap.
Exactly.
So
That's true.
there's a lot of ways of playing around a sniper here for Alliance. Drow is another hero they could pull out with a Visage.
Oh yeah.
That's a good
I think
point.
that's the one
Bro,
they're looking for.
That
more than anything
might be
would
the
be-
choice. Gust is really good against Abaddon and Brew.
Yeah.
What I really like about Alliance lineup is that they can abuse Roshan. Like fighting versus Void, they have the Visage that's going to get the Medallion most likely. If it's not him, it's going to be the Venge. The Venge wave of Terror, obviously. I mean, they have a really good lineup at getting Roche. And fighting against the Void in the Roche pit is also really hard. So even if you have an Abaddon and a Brewmaster, because you just lock them down, and I feel like they can have a good mid-game game this time around. And I mean, they were able to win without that. So
I think the setup from Alliance right now is brilliant. I mean, the fact that EG committed to an Abaddon pick and the fact that Alliance can go for a carry Void or just an offlane Void and then they have their 2 supports, it really just like EG probably have no idea what they're going to meet. So, I mean, the Bane pick is in a sense really good just because it has the Enfeeble against the Hyper Carry. It's got the, of course, the lockdown with Fiends.
it's great about the
That's a carry Void.
against the Void. And I think that if you swap out the target that's getting grip, it doesn't cancel the
continues.
grip. Yeah, so that's also something that to take into account.
You could run Clockwork mid here and still have Void off lane, so there is still room for a carry, isn't there?
Yeah,
If they want to do that.
That's definitely an option, but
I think it's a void.
I think it's unlikely.
5
Also,
seconds
I like the fact that they're
remaining.
playing into Bulldog's strengths now,
I
giving him
actually
something
think-
he feels comfortable on.
I think they're putting the Void solo mid on Hani, and then they're going to play the clock off lane, and they'll give Loda like another carry in the safe lane. I think with the setup they have here and what EG has, they can get away with playing another carry together with the Void.
Actually,
Not a-
Void
not a bad
cannot
idea.
get killed
Void's
by
gonna
any
be
ganks.
perfectly fine mid. There's like nothing stopping him here.
Brewmaster's really good versus
The Bane is just an odd pick
10
for me.
seconds
It's
remaining.
Abaddon and Bane have like absolutely no synergy as a support duo.
I think it was mostly because
5
they simply feared
seconds
the late game potential.
Not if they play dual lanes. It's something that can be really strong. You get just Bane +1 and Abaddon +1 on the other lane. You know, it can be really
yeah,
strong.
but do you feel like any of the heroes they have good synergy with that? Like,
No, definitely not.
they can't really run a good Abaddon dual lane off lane with either Prophet or Brewmaster. That's kind of
They can
weak.
play a Bane Abaddon.
Hey,
They want to go for
Abaddon carry.
You're picking Bane
Abaddon carry.
Abaddon
into
carry.
you're picking Bane into swap, into familiar drops, and into Chronosphere. I feel like it's a really bold pick, and I'm
And
not
hook
seeing
shot
the connection.
as well.
Yeah,
It's just-
I didn't know that at that point.
It's-
Though, so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
even worse.
I actually
dominance.
think the Clockwork pick would have been bad, wasn't it, if it wasn't for the Bane pick?
A silencer carry would have been really good actually for. I mean, EG banned it, so that's why I think about it. I actually forgot that hero, but it would have been really good for.
That could have been really nice too.
But I mean,
Alliance.
imagine there was no Bane in this lineup. Do you think Alliance would have still committed to the Clockwork pick just because of how comfortable Bulldog is playing it? Because I don't really feel it's good against Brewmaster. It's definitely not good against Abaddon, or it doesn't really do anything against Abaddon.
It's probably
Alliances turn
And even
to
more reason now to put the Void mid. I feel.
Isn't that Arteezy's mid PA?
Yeah.
might be, might be.
There's one important thing to note about this in the new version is that Chronosphere does not disable Blur.
Yeah, exactly.
So now it's a lot better against Void. It's kind of, the tables have been
Need an
turned where
MKB.
Void used to counter PA and now it's the other way around kind of. So
Unless you get an MKB and then obviously.
And like Seb was saying, this opens up for dual lanes where you put the Abaddon sort of guarding the Nature's Prophet on the off lane and just have
10
the
seconds
Brewmaster farm up a
remaining.
fast blink dagger on the safe lane.
yeah, and then just for fight.
Yeah, I think they can get away with it and have
5
Nature's Prophet, like, you know, not
seconds
just farm up, but also harass the Void.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Droll got a lot worse now with PA on
I don't like
Reserve.
Drow.
Oh,
It's
Drow is
really
bad now.
pick. Yeah.
You want to carry with... Oh,
Yeah.
there we go.
There you
Gyro.
go.
That's a good one.
Well, you guys caught it. You said Gyrocopter was going to come out, and that's exactly what we've got for the fifth and final pick for Alliance. Time now for your third and final game of our third quarterfinal of the day. You're tuned into ESL One New York, live from Madison Square Garden. Let's go back to the commentators for Alliance versus EG.
Yes, welcome back everybody here to what I'm going to dub as the Marathon Series. Myself, Toby1, as well as Merlini. We're working our way through it, man. We're working our way through it.
Well, no Naga.
No
No
Naga,
Terra- no-
no Naga,
that's a
and no
pretty split
Terra
question,
Blade.
so
That is an
that's-
upside.
Yes, this is a pretty unique lineup, I'd say, from Alliance. And I mean, they're one of the few teams to actually use Gyrocopter after he fell out of favor. I'm excited.
True. I'm looking forward to it. It's a Gyrocopter being played as well by Hani. Now, I know there's been a lot of experimentation going on with the mid-solo builds for a Gyrocopter, as if he does end up going mid-solo, of course, where it's Rocket being favored over anything else. And they actually use the Rocket to zone the heroes out, because there's a huge amount of damage coming out from the Gyro Rocket. But right now, it looks like Hani's actually heading up with a Wraith Band towards the north, leaving Loda behind with a Quelling Blade and a Healing Salve. Misery's here as well. Bulldog's already moving down south with just an Observer Ward. And yeah, Loda's going to be playing a mid-solo Faceless Void, expecting what Pyrian was actually saying before, an Arteezy solo mid-PA.
I actually really like the Gyrocopter pick here for a couple reasons. Firstly, he has a ton of magic burst, which is really, really good versus PA. That's how you kill her, like Skywrath with ultimate and pretty much any magic burst, because you don't have to worry about it being dodged, and she has a really low HP pool. And yeah, the max rocket build would be pretty good, and it also synergizes very well with Chronosphere.
I just love the quick show of the crowd. These guys, they come in, they take a day off work, they say, screw it. Dota is more important than work, more important than life, and they stick to the late
30
end. So
seconds to battle.
we can hear you as well from backstage if you're loud enough. So thanks a lot, crowd. Last game of this series. Not the last game of the day. We still actually have SNA to play up against C9. So the Dota day is not over yet. There's one more best of three still to come up today. But let's quickly actually have a peek through our lane. So everyone's started to settle themselves in. So it will be Hani Jaro top lane. We have roaming supports, RK and Misery taking up the roles of Visage as well as the VS respectively. They'll also secure the top rune. They'll be battling up against PPD support. He'll be babysitting Universe here on the off lane, while the mid lane will be RTC to go up against that Faceless Void of Loader. That leaves bottom lane of Fear, the Brewmaster, and Zai as the Bane. And they'll be going up against an off lane Admiral Bulldog who's already preparing himself for the Cog Trap. So he's going to make it very difficult to get some early CS here. But he did let one slip through. So not a perfect block, but at the same time, it's still going to drag the creep wave well in range of the tier 1 tower, so we can get a lot of experience too.
Whose lineup do you favor more in this? I think this one's actually pretty difficult to call.
I don't know if you can really call this one. Because, okay, you get a lot of split push power, you get a lot of burst damage power, you get a lot of team fight control power coming out here from EG. Arteezy, real trouble for him in middle lane. Misery's already thrown out the stun. He's back behind the tower at least. Yeah, so there's a lot of perks to the EG lineup, and not all of it's really requiring like farm and levels. And then you look at Alliance lineup, and their initiation's really good between Chrono as well as Hookshot. And then the Gyro control during the team fight's also quite great. And the bonus damage is also looking quite nice. Their split push is a little bit softer, even though you will have RK with his familiars and of course the Rockets to also be there. So I think both teams really have a lot of different things going for them. I would back EG a little bit more, however, because I think the synergy is just a little bit better. The Void Chrono kind of screws around with the Clockwork a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think both teams have very weird synergy. They were talking about the Faceless Void and the Clockwork before, and on the Radiant side, usually you'd have a partner such as like Wisp with the PA, and I don't think it would have been bad here at all. It can mitigate a lot of the damage of PAs up in front tanking a lot. So.
It's like EG though was looking for more insurance out of their supports with their pickup, as opposed to just going straight for the Wisp. It's more, I know we can break free of initiation.
I mean, I'd actually think Wisp is even better insurance because you have relocate and you can split, push, and farm more so that you have more items to compensate for that.
Arteezy, he's a little bit too far up. If Lodi can get a lucky time lock here, you'll pick off Arteezy. Arteezy makes the best choice. He runs up, and PPD's coming in to help him. Now, there's no bottle here for Arteezy, but he will evade the smoke gank of Misery.
Yeah, and he started off with a poor man's shield too, so he's actually not going to have bottle for quite some time, but he did get another pull from good old PPD there.
Admiral Bulldog's out of crack level 3 with his creep wave coming into the tier 1 tower now.
And he actually went a 0-1-2 build. You don't see this very often, but if you're too scared to play aggressively at all, or if you're at a severe lane disadvantage, then it's a good idea.
I don't think he'll actually get close. With Nightmare, are you really going to be able to get a good battery assault?
There's already a triple stack up on the top lane. And I mean, I think it's a lot better for Alliance because they actually have Gyrocopter who can take it out. So let's see if EG can do anything about it. Oh, Universe.
That's a lot of damage into him. That's a level 2 Rocket Barrage with a level 1 Rocket, but there's no flat cannon for Hani. So even though they might have the triple stack, they're using it to deny up the creep wave as often as they possibly can. That looks to be their primary goal right now.
Of the wood.
Ooh, nice movement by Universe there, dragging a couple of the creeps so that it's not all denied.
Still watching, like the farm-wise, there's actually a lot of farm coming in for Lodi. He's actually grabbing a crap ton up against Arteezy. It's a 19-2 up against a 10-0
it's
right now.
Mostly because Misery played his bottle and forced him to play very defensively. Normally he'd have bottle around 2.5 minutes, especially against a Faceless Void, one of the easier heroes to lane against.
So without that, he's kind of been a little bit pushed off the lane. And Arteezy wants to be a little bit over-aggressive up against Loaded too. But he doesn't even have his blink. He's just stifling Dagger and Blur, and he's saving his points. It's actually a... Okay, now he's actually spending it. So it's a 3-1-1 build coming up for Arteezy before he gets the coup de grace.
And now PA will actually have a lane advantage though, because you can just constantly spam that in. Especially if she gets a crit at 6, then Faceless Void is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Just force him out of the lane, but then maybe Alliance search for a rotation. Because you do have Admiral Bulldog sitting at 4.5. A good hook shot in, maybe catching PA out, but I suppose you've still got your Phantom Strike to get yourself away to safety as long as there's something for him to blink to outside of the cogs.
And Fear hasn't had that difficult of a lane on bottom, but he still opted for an early Power Treads instead of, let's say, rushing a Blink Dagger, which is far more common. And I think it's far too conservative for what their lineup dictates, especially since Phantom Assassin is usually going to be the main focal point. You already have an Abaddon to back you up. If you're caught out in a bad position, Nature's Prophet can also TP in. And I don't know, I think they need the aggression from the early split and the blink to to put Void in a bad position, and Gyro later.
Zai's checking the corners right now. Loda's actually quite low in the middle lane too. I want to keep my eyes on Admiral Bulldog because Zai's kind of like pushed himself into a tree line where Admiral Bulldog has no idea where he is. The Bulldog hasn't shown himself on this lane for a while now, and Zai slips out in the cover of nighttime. There is the Observer Ward already down for Admiral Bulldog, so he knows the Bane is missing. Just runs a very, very long way around to the side. And even just rocketing into towards mid lane. Is this meant to help Loda? He does have a chrono available. Actually, that rocket's coming top. All the way into Universe, in fact.
Well, they're setting up a kill. Misery's just been sitting in the same spot for quite some time, but they can see Aki's positioning, and he's playing like a little bit too aggressively. More aggressive than a solo Visage should, and Universe without PvD support is just not going to come up.
Actually, it's perfect warding too, because the Observer Ward scouted Admiral Bulldog moving in towards the mid. Now Zai just sits there having some fun with Admiral Bulldog. They're rotating support over. Universe is going to jump himself in. The Nightmare just allows for a repositioner. And then the Sprout just bring the trees in so they can body block him up. The Stifling Dagger, this should be first blood. They slow him up, they block him up, and Admiral Bulldog will be giving the first blood over to PPD. So the Abaddon is the one to pick it all up. And Arteezy will even grab the 6-minute room, which will be a bounty for him.
Man, EG was really quick on that response. I was like, oh yeah, it's just a Bane, and then boom, Nature's Prophet, and then boom, Abaddon and PA. So they were just extremely quick with that.
They want a first blood again. That's 3 for 3 now for the series. Obviously, the series is 1 for 1, however, so first blood isn't everything.
Loda's wrapping around with the Invis on top, expecting some sort of resistance.
He's going to find PPD only. He might actually get bigger thing. That's going to be the Courier. That's got boots for PPD. He leaps up and he got it. The item
melee hit?
The item still transferred it. It was. It just seems to have a very good reach.
Well, they don't lose the tower on top though, and EG they actually don't have that great of defense. Anyways, see, Fear would have had his Blink Dagger by now, and I don't think the Power Tread is coming that useful at all, especially with Clockwork having to live in constant fear.
I don't know what he's really concerned about though. Like, you pick up treads. If you're looking for initiation, then you go a Blink Dagger. Unless he's going to sit back and might pick up drums and then go for a Blink Dagger. Whoop, middle lane. Arteezy's in trouble. Loda can't actually hit anything. That Blur's not helping him out, and Loda has to leap himself away. The shield from PPD will buy some space. He'll have to, doesn't have to heal him. But the coup de grace connections, Arteezy's going to bottle up and jump back in over an Arcade. There's your coup de grace, and he hits on Arcade. That's 2-0 now in favor of EG. Misery hides in the tree line. There was nothing more he could do. There was no mana left. So they had to back themselves up. But Arteezy definitely wants to pick up this 8-minute rune a lot sooner than his bottle charges will allow. Or PPD just gives him another burst of life.
Yeah, PA is a great pick versus Faceless Void now. The Blur is just incredibly good. I mean, he couldn't do any damage to him.
Before, with your first chrono from Faceless Void, that's meant to be a guaranteed kill for him.
Yes.
And he doesn't get it, which means also the first chrono being wasted, in a way.
But they still have Hani up top. Loda looking for a gank on top.
He's jumping in. He's going for Universe, but they've got the Bane in the neighborhood, so the Nightmare can't protect him, and Loda, he'll turn. The Sprout goes. He's got Quelling Blade, not cutting his way free. He's actually just standing here, and then Hani in for the Rocket Barrage, but Arteezy right his hell. There's your coup de grace. He's getting a lot of good crits off, and Loda trying to go for Zai. The Stifling Dagger available in 3 seconds time. Nightmare keeps RK out of this fight. His Soul Assumption charges, however, are building up. Zai, he might have to aggro the trees on the side, but then PPD gives him the shield to protect himself. Arteezy Stifling Dagger again, goes over to Loda. He's looking for a coup de grace. Can't get it, blinks up, he's committing. There's your backtrack from Loda. More damage in. That he can't get more proc. Still only a level 1, however. But they do force Alliance back behind the tower. Another kill. The Prophet, well actually that's just a TP in towards middle lane. It's Misery is right behind him, but a blink down to PPD. He's stuck with him to the end. And Evan's going to allow him to pick up the regeneration rune into his bottle. Hani going for the Rocket Barrage. He wasn't properly in range, however, of PPD. So we only got maybe like half a second worth of damage into the heroes. And in the meantime, Fear's free farming on that bottom lane, and the Blink Dagger's going to be there very, very shortly.
Neither the Gyrocopter pick or the Clockwork pick has been paying off for them yet. We haven't seen any combos. If he casts...
Well, Bulldog's never rotated, has he?
Well, he hasn't been level 6, just because he had a really tough time. But even then, they could have used the Chrono... Like, Hani could have TP mid and then dropped his ultimate during the first Chronosphere to land a kill, but they haven't been able to just... I mean, this is one of the problems with having a stand-in, but their teamwork and coordination has just not been pinpoint.
Well, you still got to make the best of what you've got. Can't be helped if Chessie can't sit down for a while.
It's a different build coming out from Universe too. Usually, actually almost exclusively, versus a Clockwork, you'll see 4-step first on Nature's Prophet. But this time he's actually going for the early Orchid. And I guess it seems as if Gyrocopter's actually not going to be that big of a problem. Looking at his farm, he did have very good farm early, but now it's just phase boost, bracer. He's died once, and PA's like getting pretty far up there in farm. So really, if they can shut down the Faceless Void and force him to get a BKB instead of other damage items, then they can do a significant amount of work on him. So
Because if he also gets the BKB, you just get a couple of points up and Enfeeble, and you can take away most of that damage anyway.
I mean, and you could just out-survive it because Panda has his ultimate, he has a lot of evasion, and Phantom Assassin has a lot of evasion too. And they have Abaddon for sustain.
Arteezy's got to be careful about this. He's throwing out Stifling Daggers, just looking for an easy hit. But the Gyro's coming in, and now it's only a level 1 rocket. The bottom lane's being heavily pushed. Arteezy, he's going to take the stun, the call down. Misery going to follow with the magic missile with the wave of terror, but the shield just breaks him free. That rocket does nothing. This is why he's not leveling it up. While on the bottom lane, the fortification's already gone from Alliance. So this is a tier 1 tower now going the way of EG. They're 3 for 0. And now we're 10 minutes and 45 seconds in. Loda will try and get a bit of a trade-off, taking out the top tower, but the advantage is stretching above 2.5k, and that's a lot of TPs coming in. Who's going to be the first one in? It's Arteezy. Loda leads himself away for Profit on the front lines, and he actually got a coup de grace hit. Takes out the Visage straight away. Loda in the tree lane. He's got his ultimate, but he's going to trigger it. But he's got no way out. He's in the tree line. They can't reach him. They can't reach him. He's out and home and hose in the tree line. Out to safety in a way. But it's still a 4 for 0. The second Chrono was blown for, again, no kill.
Well, he actually TP'd to the T1 as well, so that's a lot of downtime for him.
Wait, he did?
Yeah.
He never got straight back to base.
I don't know why he didn't double click, but yeah, that's a pretty big win for EG because I think they'll be able to take this tower uncontested, especially with the threat of Panda Ultimate. They just cannot fight into a Panda Ultimate being this far behind.
Hani, oh, look at Zai. He actually kept killing up the creep wave so he could hit his Fiend's Grip, and PPD throws the nuke out. He might shield himself up, so if he takes the damage, Hani, it almost pulled out. There's Admiral Bulldog hook shot in. Zai, he's got Brains Up available, but who's he going to go on? Misery's the only target. No charges. PPD can shield him up, but a little bit too late in the turn. The top tower is still brought down by the Brewmaster. PPD being focused. Now he gets the shield up, and there's double TP on the way. The cooldown's on the way, and in comes Arteezy with Universe TPing in as well. They go 5 for 1. And now there's going to be a rune up on top that Arteezy will be taking the bounty rune for him. Hani will pick up the illusion rune. It just seems every single time there's a team fight, EG are the ones coming out on top for both map control as well as the kill count.
Yeah, Gyrocopter's just been out of position. His teammates all had to save him because he got Fiend's Grip, and he was downhill too, so they didn't even know how many people were up the hill. And then if they overcommit, Panda will just clean all of them up, so they have to devote like enough resources to try and save them because they need Gyrocopter to get stacked, but they don't actually want to bring all 5 heroes because that's going to be an immediately lost fight for them too. So Alliance is in a precariously difficult position.
And they can't even defend this mid-tier 1. Like the Familiar's trying to push it out, but Fierce got his ulti up. He's ready to jump. Trying to sit in the tree line, he'll reveal himself out now. The Dire Observe Wall was actually watching him.
They can't give up too many towers though, because Panda is going to have his Vlad soon if they just let him have his way. And then after that, EG will just do Roshan because Alliance's teamfight is pretty awful outside of Gyrocopter. And even if they do get a Chrono, it's only Gyrocopter's damage that's really going to matter. So EG with the Roshan, PA will just roll over them. So this is the start of a very bad sequence of events. So Alliance has to react in some manner, and probably off the back of Admiral Bulldog or off the back of Faceless Void and then Gyrocopter burst to follow.
Well, if you can get the Elite Blade Mail, maybe you can force PA to start killing herself, but right now Arteezy is just very, very happy with life. He's already got his Perseverance, getting close to Battle Fury, so Farm is arriving rather quickly for him. And once he gets the BKB, then Admiral Bulldog has no real effect.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, and Loda can... I mean, he can't farm in safety while Arteezy can. Which is... I mean, it's not good at all for Loda. He needs to get really stacked, and again, we see him going for like a... Yeah, I don't think he planned on going Midas, especially with the early treads, but with the way the game is developed, he's like, well, my teammates aren't pulling their weight again. I have to carry.
There's no other choice for him, but he can't do that unless he gets more space. That's the only option right now. Alliance need to make more space for the Faceless Void to get bigger. And he is, well, he does have the Hand of Mine, so he's already got one good start, but Fear is, he's still looking for a place where he can split. He just wants one person caught out of position. Hani throws the rocket to Arteezy, but they had to smoke up and move themselves around. But there's 4 heroes waiting for Alliance here. Arteezy, PPD, okay, they both just broke smoke. They know someone's in the tree line, Fear jumps in, gets the first drunken brawler hit, there was the first stun, Familiar drop downs off target. And the shield from PPD was always going to break Fear free. So he's almost got a guaranteed ulti anyway in every single fight. Prophet will TP in, and now EG bring all 5 heroes in. Careful of these familiars, they don't have drop down again. The resummon's also on cooldown for 13 more seconds. They just force the towers. The top tower is being pushed out by Loda. But the cooldown trying to keep Arteezy and Fear off this target. And PPD straight in through the rear. He'll be slowed down. He's still got ultimate available, however, so killing up the Abaddon's not that easy. And Hani uses his entire rocket barrage. Arteezy can't find him, though, into an Invis rune. So the tier 1 tower in the middle lane does go down. The Storm Brilliants are going to find at least Arcade sending him up and towards the air. And Arteezy, Hani would love to have a crack at him, but he does not have a damage output, and there's no one that could really help. Even with a rocket, I don't think he can get this.
Vintage familiars?
They don't. The Suns are coming off cooldown, but his Invis is wearing out too soon. They won't be able to set up for this. Arteezy's just going to blink himself down the hill anyway. There's a lot of wasted time, and when he comes back, like the Observer was watching the familiars, and Hani has to hide inside the tree line. Unless you TP to bottom lane to be down next to Loda.
Well, the good news is they didn't suffer any casualties from Panda Ultimate. And
True.
That was a good disengage by them, and they don't really have that great of disengage. Admiral Bulldog picked up his Blade Mail, and Hani, his farm has just been very lackluster. He had a very easy lane on top, and he had like FaZe and Aquila, and ever since then, probably like 8 or 9 months ago, he now has Ogre Club and a Bracer.
Yeah, it's not really that much to write home about. I'm going to give this another crack. The Battle Fury, 16 minutes for Arteezy. Let the farm continue. In Universe, he's actually almost finished his full Orchid. Like, this is a really quick Orchid coming up from Nature's Prophet. And that's running it without the Hand of Midas as well.
They really need a mech on the side of EG, because all they need to do is survive the Gyrocopter burst. And then if they can survive that, they can easily win.
These trees, they're coming in. They know what's going on. Sentry Walls to be placed. They can get rid of the Observer Ward up, and now Misery stuns it up. He uses his Magic Missile for that. But is there any way to really counter this? PPD's moving forward. The cogs from Admiral Baller just keep him out. They need more time to dish out the damage to pick up this Aegis. PPD being Nightmare. They try and break him free. Roshan, 400 line points. PPD just walking himself in. He goes for the kill on it, but we go into the dire side. Now Loda jumps in. Double Chrono. We got Arteezy and Zai. The call out to follow up Misery. Low on life PPD. He tries to keep his teammates alive. There's still going to be a 1-for-1 trade off the 2 supports down. But Arteezy, there goes your Aegis, the Immortal. He's being solo assumption down, but PPD is doing everything he can to keep him alive. Admiral Bulldog, this Universe just beating him down while he stands inside the cogs. Hani's not looking too healthy either. Arteezy wants back in again. He's got Stifling Dagger, slows down Arcade. Universe Orchid's coming off cooldown as well for him, so he can silence up over on Loda, and there it is. The jump up, the spray, and they might have enough damage. Where's your coup de grace? There, no, it doesn't even come up. They have enough raw damage itself. So they burn through the Aegis, they burn through the Alliance players, and it's an 8-for-2 trade-off at the end of the day.
Oh,
not the kills, Gad. Obviously at the end results.
Yikes. I think it's a quad stack.
Arteezy has Battle Fury. He can easily walk through that. Especially now that Vladimir's offerings over on the Brewmaster.
They should take this. That's going to be a significant goal hit for Alliance. And I mean, I think that was a great play going in for the Roshan. I think EG, they should know that one of the easy ways for Alliance to get back in is with Roshan. The expert panel was talking initially about how they have Minus Armor, their Early Medallion, the Vengeful Spirit. They should be able to take it out very quickly. And a majority of the stack is already dead, so Arteezy is going to have his next item.
He actually ended up getting a coup de grace cleave and took 600 gold with one swing on that ancient area. In total, he actually took about 1,000 gold away from that.
Yeah, and he just has many ways to pump up his damage too. Like, he doesn't have to be that scared. And you can see how aggressively he plays with on the back of Abaddon shield. Now he has a Vlad's on top of that, and he has a Panda just up in front causing havoc for Alliance.
Would you still want him to go the BKB in this game, considering he's got so many things to protect him?
Need to. They haven't been able to coordinate like good bursts on him at all. They had Chronosphere into a cooldown, but it didn't drop him. It dropped him like maybe slightly below half, but they just have so much pressure coming out from all angles, and on top of that, they have Nature's Prophet with Orchid, who can just stop their Faceless Void. And if they can stop the Chronosphere, they really don't have enough control in fights.
What's the other alternative right now? Like, the Prophet can come in from anywhere, and with the amount of money Universe has got, if that's really his objective, he can even buy a Blink Dagger on this Prophet. So he's always going to be 100% in position.
Well, Void needs a BKB. And then Hani just needs more damage so he can actually like kill people in the Chronosphere. Like their initial.
Oh, they're going to run in. Smoke on smoke. Fear double clap. Misery so quickly to death. RK will follow straight after. And they're just going to send the Clockwork up into the A universe. These Sprouts to start with. Then the Orchid into Bulldog. So there's no way to hook out. Now TZ will do a lot of damage to himself with a Blade Mail on the Clockwork. But there's still a triple kill going the way of EG in total. And the Brewmaster sends the Gyro up. They're not diving in for that. They just want the mid tower. That'll be the easier pickup. They will have to go through fortification to do so, but it's not going to be much of a problem.
Yeah, Alliance's initial game plan was like, hey, we'll just get hookshot and then we'll kill someone in the cogs pretty easily. We'll Chronosphere, dump a lot of gyro damage and kill people easily, but they just coordinated slightly too late, and now EG's too farmed for Alliance's spells to cope with it.
Poor PBD, still going to get hit. Misery's trying to get closer. They already got one TP out. But PPD's got his ultimate, so even if they jump on him, there goes Loader. He can Chrono, but they won't be able to kill PPD easy. There goes the ulti. They have to wait it out, but Loader, he gets Orchided again. PPD's going to get stunned up, and he should go down right now. They try and keep him up with the shield, so he's getting a little bit of actually spill damage from Bulldog. Hook shots down, goes on Fear Universe, stunned up again. Loader leaping in, there's no mana for a Chrono. Even with the stick charges, now he does do it. He has just enough, goes for Fear. Wave of Terror, Arteezy, he jumps in, looks for the cleave! Big hit already, looks for more. Admiral Bulldog, the call down making it possible for Arteezy to get close, and then the cogs as you lock him in for Fear. He's already in close, and Arteezy mops him up. Double kill for him. Alliance get wiped in middle lane by EG.
PA is out of control. 9-0 and 6, 21 minutes in. There is just no stopping him. And they had, in theory, enough magical burst with Vengeful Spear early as well as Soul Assumption and, again, Hani. But it's just no coordination at all. Alliance's teamwork has been off.
Yeah, it really has. And they're going to pay the price for it. The tier 2 tower now down the bottom lane, 16-4. Your advantage now stretching closer towards the 10,000, the net worth and the experience. They're both going together. And with the bottom tier 2 tower going down, Roshan, he's still a while off for respawning. Moving to mop up one of these familiars. There's no resummon for 87 seconds. Sprouts that keep the vision. They're wanting to reduce all controlling factors here of Alliance. And that's the 4-staff coming in for Zai. The BKB's already been triggered before from Arteezy. He's up to another 2,000 gold on this guy. I don't know how Alliance are about to come back in this one. Even if they Chrono, they don't seem to be able to get a kill straight away. There's too much control coming up from Bane and LOA.
And not only that, Brewmaster and Phantom Assassin are just too tanky. They just don't have the damage. Even if Bane and Abaddon were caught in the Chronosphere, they still couldn't kill the two important heroes.
Yeah, and like the boys in the panel were calling us like, oh, maybe just pick up a Monkey King bar. Alliance can't pick up that kind of money yet. Even with a Gyrocopter, he got a good start, but he needs to finish his BKB before he can start onto anything else. And Faceless Boy is well off having, like, he still needs to do the same kind of thing.
And even if he does get BKB, Abaddon will just shield, or he gets gripped, or if he goes on Abaddon, Abaddon will just ultimate. So there's just not a good solution for him. If he doesn't get BKB, he'll get Orchided, he'll get Drunken Haze and Cyclone. So it's just a lose-lose for Faceless Void. He just really needs his teammates to pick up the slack.
It's true. It's true, but what's the Visage really meant to do here? A couple of good familiar drops, the Clockwork hook shot in. He could do it and pop the Blade Mail, but we're at a point right now where, as you said yourself, the EG heroes are too tanky. He jumps in, pops the Blade Mail, and like Arteezy managed to kill him off and lost half of his life points for it. But with another 2,000 gold on him, he could even buy up a Helm of the Dominator if he wants to and get a little bit more life steal into him. But he's got a Vladimir's offering to help him out too, so yeah, it's a rough run. We'll go again as, well actually, yeah, the VS isn't back into the game just yet. So I don't think Misery is not back in ready to play yet. So they're not good to go just yet.
So this is very unfortunate for Alliance that, I mean, they just have not a great combat mechanism. Aside from, I mean, maybe if EG gives them another Roshan, they can live to fight another day and maybe get enough farm on these two heroes. But like Gyrocopter really needs an MKB, BKB by like 30, 35, and that's just not a possibility this game.
Even if you found it from stacks, like the problem is like with your ancient stack, when they lost that, that was probably one of the critical things for them. That was their burst damage, burst gold to get to like one of the BKBs that was required.
And Gyrocopter went a fighting build too, with 441, not a 414. So that means if he can't get any kill with homing missiles, that points haven't been paying off.
Well, he knows he can't get it anyway, because the second he gets the stun, the shield comes up from the Abaddon. And then he gives him life back again.
It's still damage.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, I mean, how much damage have we seen from the homing missile this game? Not very much.
And even in the later portions, like you never knew when a mech was going to arrive, which hilariously enough, EG still haven't built into one of these. Like Universe went for the Orca to start with. He might have enough money soon where he could actually buy a straight mech for his team. But is that really what they're searching for here? Because is EG, like their path to victory comes through team wipes and then push?
Yeah, the items are relatively unimportant at this point. Like all they need to do is prevent Alliance from getting next Roshan, and of course not get caught in 5-man Chronospheres and ultimates. But that's pretty much goes without saying.
Yeah, don't get caught in the massive team fight of Alliance.
Don't get hit by 5-man Familiar Stunts.
That would be good. I think I've only ever seen one of those. That was TI.
Yeah, it does happen though.
It does. It does. Normally you want to have like a combo here, like a Dark Seer or something along those kind of lines to actually drag them all together. But like you have it from Alliance with their last game, you know, like if you know it's coming, you position for it so you don't get attacked by it. Hence, RK sits 5 million light years away from most fights when he plays a Silencer. That was game number 2. So we've actually got some extended problems actually happening here for Misery, so he's still not back into the game yet.
And looking at the bigger picture, Alliance is having issues because they haven't had much success outside of 4 Protect 1, and now that they've been running 4 Protect 1, not almost exclusively, but the majority of the time, and like EG has brought several different strategies versus them and is able to dismantle them with either of them. Like, what does Alliance fall back to now? And yes, some of the problem may be with some of the stand-in factors and whatnot, but still, you can't only have one good strategy up your sleeve.
True.
In this tournament.
True. Like that's what everyone was talking about during TI. You ban Prophet, you ban Wisp, and then all of a sudden Alliance seem useless. And you ask yourself the question, why? I mean, you got to have more. But Hani is a guy, though, that could just slide in everywhere. He's got enough experience.
I wouldn't even say it's Hani. I mean, again, not to harp on Bulldog, but he just hasn't brought his A game today. And they really needed him to. He is supposed to be the person that sets up for Gyrocopter. He is supposed to be the one that keeps these supports down. He wasn't able to control Fear at all on bottom.
Yeah.
He gave up First Blood. And
when he did come in for the hook shots, by that point, EG was able to fight him.
And Blade Mail doesn't really do that much in this lineup either.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't do anything versus Panda. HH Prophet will just switch to somebody else. PA is already steroided by the rest of EG's lineup, so...
Yeah. And because you got, like, Bane and an Abaddon together, like, that's where the extra help comes in.
It was good in theory, though. Like, I would say it's decent versus Bane, and, like, all right versus HH Prophet. But it seemed that they were desperate for a hero for Admiral Bulldog to have success with, and if he had success in the first 2 games, they wouldn't even be in this position.
You're right. You're right. Right now, we have just been told we're about a minute away from getting back into the game, as it seems like Misery's got his communication back up, and he is reconnecting into the game as we are speaking. So we'll get ourselves back underway. 22 minutes in, 16-4. I kind of felt sorry. Like, you see the expression over on Hani's face before when the camera was going to him, and it was like the rubbing of the eyes. It's like, how the hell am I meant to do this game? It was the expression that's there on their face, and it's a horrible question for him, for Alliance. Because they know they're staring down the barrel of a loss, of a first-round elimination here from ESL One. That's what they're looking at right now. The light at the end of the tunnel is rather dim for them to reach.
Well, to be fair, I did think of that for the first game.
That's very true. That's very true. We sat there both at 10 minutes in going, this game is over. So maybe anything is possible. Maybe anything is possible. We're back into the game again. So we'll see if Alliance can pull the magic out.
That's how Gyrocopter carries.
It's a straight-handed Midas behind. Catch up. Catch up Midas right now.
Well, it might be a similar theory to last game, but I would have much less confidence in their ability to survive past 35 than I did in the last game. But, I mean, if they are going to win, it is going to go extremely late, so the Midas will pay for itself. BKB doesn't actually do that much here just because he's still not going to be able to kill Abaddon during the BKB or deal with a Fiend's Grip.
How do you deal with a 200 damage at PA, who's also got like a level, almost a level 3 crit?
And that's exactly what they did in Game 1 and Game 2, is fail to siege high ground. So they know that's EG's weakness, and if they do fall short, they will have an actual path of victory. Whereas if they go for like a BKB and like they fail to push,
Dire's
which
top
is a
tower is
somewhat
under
likely
attack.
possibility. They don't have a way to win in the late game. So, I mean, it's not a great option, but he doesn't have that many great options available to him right now.
Even looking at Alliance, like how are you supposed to attack when you got aggressive observer wards up like this in the bottom lane? Like you can't even surprise EG at the moment because they've got just that one deep ward scattered out the movement of 4 different heroes of Alliance.
Well, they surprised him with the Roshan the first time, so it's
True.
It seems unlikely, but it is possible.
Right now, EG is just grouping up inside their own tree line. They've got new smoke up. Universe is also going straight into a side device, so it's the double controller.
Yes, and Alliance again will need force staves to not get owned by those items.
Look how cautious Arteezy's being. He actually backs himself up a very long way. The second the rocket flew over his head, he just moved backwards. Because he doesn't know where they are. The last vision he saw was 4 heroes sitting on that bottom lane. And they do still have 1 over
What
here.
is Hani doing right here?
I don't know.
Why doesn't he stack Ancients or do Ancients or...
He's chilling in the trees where it's safe, man.
I suppose.
Gotta stay in the trees.
I suppose. But in the end, he will just TP out. I don't think he can solo kill anybody at this point unless Nature's Prophet gets caught like in the center of the ultimate.
Midas. It's just sitting there. It's free gold. It's free experience. And there we go. There we go.
Well, checking out the mid lane.
Yeah.
Some action.
Are they gonna move up?
Happen soon. But the thing is, Alliance think they're actually in a different place because they spot the Bane.
Arteezy's looking for a jump in. He's found Bulldog. Jumps up a long way, 1 coup de grace. Takes off half of his life points. They put down another set of aggressive observer wards and the sentries in case Alliance actually have some defensive observer wards around. And this will allow EG now to look towards more the lane pushing. Like just up through the top. She also flagged through the fact that Arteezy finished up the Yasha and now goes in for the Morbid Mask.
Bane doesn't really have that much mobility, and aside from that, they can't really lock down the Faceless Void. So Loda can still get a surprising amount of farm given how far behind Alliance is, which is around 11,000 gold. Not that bad. 2 Midases, catch-up mechanism, and 6.82. Possible Roshan later, so it's not all grim.
No. There always just seems to be a way to come back for the moment. But, well, Hani, he's finding his way on the bottom lane. That BKB nice and close. Misery as well as Arke going to make sure he's got a chance here. Universe the man to come down to defend. He does still have Wrath of Nature available. So they can hold him off, and even if they do lose the tier 1 tower down here, it becomes a trade-off because the tier 2 tower is being picked up by Alliance right now on the top
Universe
lane.
knows that he's in a lot of danger. Nobody's defending a T2 on top, and almost no one is in vision from Alliance. So he TP'd down there, and then he TP'd out after summoning the trees. He just does not want to be in that position, and if Clockwork can find a hook angle to him, he is just dead. Does not want to get.
But Alliance never forced the issue. Sure, there's a lot of intimidation because it's like they're blind on the map, but the issue was never forced by Alliance. They never took the tier 1 town, so it ends up just being a tier 1 for a tier 2 for a nothing trade. Like even Roshan, he's almost a full 3 minutes spawn time. That's a 2.5 minute waiting time. Now 1 minute off the full spawn. And what do they really get? Like they're gonna pick off Bane on the top. That's almost worth a leap to Chrono right there. And yep, there she goes. Loda gets the control. Bane needs a couple more time loss to get the kill here. Nightmare, he gets it off. Earn charge up, the wave of terror comes in from Misery in the side. So they'll still get the Bane down. They're losing some familiars in the middle lane, and that's already forced to resummon up here from the Visage.
This is the path to recovery, though. You use your ultimates for single kills, even if it's a support. You spend your gold on a gem, like Vengeful Spirit did, try and de-ward so that EG has to think twice about going to your side of the jungle, and eventually eyeing other objectives like T1s and Roshan, of course. And, of course, the Ancient stack, but Arteezy just slaying them left and right.
Yeah, just want to leave these up for any long period of time.
But if you're EG, you just need to make sure that Alliance doesn't feel safe to farm, which pretty much means getting I'd say a Blink Dagger on Bane. I think he should have gotten it over a Force Staff. Although Force Staff is better versus Clockwork, they're not in the defensive position where he needs to Force Staff out. He needs to be able to blink and grip Loda so that they can just kill him when he's out alone. And he's pretty much going to be the only one that's out alone because Hane is forced to play very defensively. Gyrocopter has no innate escape abilities, and he doesn't have BKB. Even if he did have a BKB, he could still die to PA burst as well as Fiend Clip, so he just can't feel safe anywhere.
Yeah, not unless he has a VES sitting behind him, but even then, that's only a level 1 swap for Misery. And Misery's got no repositioning items either to
Well, he
save
has Gem. His life is worth more than Hane's right now.
Very true. But Hani is about to get to that BKB. once he uses his Midas.
But all in all, I mean, BKB on Gyrocopter, what does it mean? 14 fights?
Not really a lot in this, because
Yeah,
you still get the straight physical damage coming out from the Phantom Assassin.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that much, unfortunately. So he has to get, like, a lot. 2 more items probably to be relevant, because PA will have 2 more items as well. But Roshan is up, and Admiral Bulldog is sending rockets in, and Universe has Treants there. So both teams know that Roshan is up, and can Alliance sneak it out? Probably, especially since they've taken down most of EG's wards.
They do also have the Maelstrom over on the Faceless Void, so they've got the amplification of damage. But they just don't have the BKB on him now either. So he can still get messed around with inside of his own chrono.
EG needs a gem. I'm very surprised that they haven't picked up one yet, and this is a very smart observer word by one of the Alliance supports, allows them to see generally where EG is.
This should make my life easier.
But Universe is very vigilant about this, exactly when he's don't give Alliance Roshan if you're EG.
Or at least if they go for it, they can make him very, very cautious about putting all 5 heroes in there to get it really quickly.
Middle tower is under attack.
Yes, and there are still both T1 towers up on EG. There's no reason for them to give this up for free. Maybe if you get like a T3 trade out of it, it's worth it, but even then, it's just safer to defend it.
I'm actually really more concerned right now for Alliance, the fact that Arteezy's really farming the map.
I mean, of course.
This guy's a 17k. He just actually bought, okay, a lot. I assume that's the full Mana Style coming out. At the same time, that's an Assault Cuirass for Fear. Like, we've actually got the full AC over on the Brewmaster, as well as having a fresh Mana Style over on the Phantom Assassin. And a 4-staff in for the Clockwork, so 3 primary items coming up, but a 4-staff up against these 2 big ones. Arteezy's now just going to solo Roshan.
This is just the beginning of the end for Alliance now, and
it's like they have to contest it. Like, there's no choice, but Loda's completely out of position. He can't TP there in time.
Alliance's lineup, I'm not really sure what they're aiming for in terms of when they're planning to mount a comeback, because there's not really an ideal time to hit, because Panda is really strong in the early game and PA is going to be an absolute beast in the late. So the longer they drag it on, the more PA is going to hit. But Panda's like way too fat for them to take a point, and maybe there might be some sweet spot in between where PA's not that fat and Brewmaster starts to taper off, but I don't actually think a window like that exists in this particular game.
I think their window is 5 minutes right now before EG push high ground. Like, that's their only window they've got available. They're going to use that Aegis of the Immortal to breach the high ground. They've got a split, they've got Assault Cuirass, that's a level 3 split too. You've got even PPD walking around at level 11, and Bane is actually going to a BKB build over on this Bane. So
that certainly is EG's window, but when is Alliance's? So when do they have to make that risk?
Alliance's window is forced. Like, it's forced into the next 5 minutes, how they fight this.
Yes, but they're always going to be in the defensive. Like, if EG forces the issue, they know they're going to win the fight, and then Alliance has already lost that to begin with. So can they catch EG by surprise? Do they wait for the next 5 minutes? And, you know, EG's like, oh, we have the Aegis, there's no way they're going to fight us, and they try and bring it there? Do they try and wait until the Aegis expired when it's more obvious, but when they don't have the Aegis, it's just an extremely difficult position for Alliance. Only flawless execution.
They're forced to fight now. They're forced to fight. Arteezy comes up, triggers the Mana Style, mops up the creep wave rather quickly, and the fortification actually did it. They mopped up the creep wave while the fortification was up. So this tier 3 tower is almost forfeit. Loda, he's waiting for the perfect chrono spot, but look at PPD and Zai's positioning.
Well,
they're at the back lines, but he's so hard.
I don't know what he hookshot, but I just heard the clink and he's still in base.
I didn't see the target connect either, or anywhere near a target. The rockets are coming over to Arteezy. He's got a shield protecting him for the moment. The familiar burst did stun him up, but he just almost brings down one with one swipe. They want to still have a crack here, but Loda's gone AWOL down the mid. He's well off target. The range rack's already gone down now. And, well, Admiral Bulldog, the cold defense is there. But the melee ranks, Loda, he still wants to jump chrono, but he can't find his target. Arteezy's the only one there, and they don't want him. He's the man with Aegis the Immortal, and he jumps in misery. Almost gets one hit by Arteezy. They gave him the drop down. They need this damage out. Loda's so close in, but Arteezy blinks out, and now you jump in the chrono. He couldn't get up, he's got Orchidus. Universe controls him with no BKB to protect him. Arteezy moves forward, and Loda, he's in so much trouble. He is going to drop. Buyback not there. Arteezy kills the Clockwork. Fear will pick up a double kill. The hope is draining out for Alliance. The cooldown's on the way in, but Arteezy still with the Aegis Immortal. Misery is gone. Triple kill for Arteezy. The Fiend Strip. It holds Hani in position. They clap, they drop him. Triple kill for Arteezy. Triple kill for Fear. And GG. EG will advance themselves through into the semi-final. And Alliance eliminated here in the quarterfinals.
Man,
The danger of the singular limb.
I feel terrible for Loda. He played his heart out today.
He really did.
And he just straight carried them, and it all amounted to nothing in the end. So, I mean, well played by EG. They just completely shut him out this game.
Man, I'm at a point right now where I feel so sorry for Alliance as a whole. They really did play hard. The first 2 games were a marathon for them to try and get through. And EG, they pushed them. Like, EG were really pushed to the limit. It went both ways there. And then game number 3 is a quick end to the series. And EG just proved at the end of the day that, like, the draft really won out in my mind on that last game. It was really difficult for them to get on top. But either way, we'll see what the panel have to say as I will go to them before we go to our last game.
Okay, welcome back to the T-Mobile desk. Yes, well, a terrific win in the end for EG. They finally got there, guys, and yeah, not in the easiest of fashion. Alliance didn't make it easy, or rather, I should say, Loda didn't make it easy this evening.
Yeah, I think that's the story of this series. I think, as Malini was saying, he can be really proud of his own performance and probably a bit disappointed with the end result. And I mean, he really gave it his all. It's one of the best performances I've seen for Loda in a long time, probably since TI3 days. So an amazing carry player in his own right.
Yeah.
So, but EG, I mean, coming out strong in this 3rd game, amazing play by everyone. PPD especially, completely broke Alliance back with that Abaddon play in the early game.
Much tighter game from there, much more organised, as it were. Thank you, Syndrin. Hello.
Hey, what's up?
But yeah,
The whole time it's just an illusion.
Really? Yeah. No, I saw you. Yeah. I saw you there. It's all good. It's fine.
Oh, you smile.
Yeah, I like the blink dagger into the desk. That was great.
Yeah.
I feel like
That's my thing.
Alliance's draft in the last game was okay. I mean, they had a good draft, a good synergy between like the Visage, the Gyrocopter, the Void, but they really had no answer to that Abaddon. They third picked Abaddon. E.g., they just announced what they wanted to do, and I feel like Alliance was like, whatever, it's not a big deal. We have a Void, we can control you, and they just had no answer. Early game, they just every single 2 versus 2, they just got crushed because of those heals and shields. So
who picked CG when we did our predictions? Yeah. Good job, boys, at the end.
I wasn't ready for that high five, so it looked like I was.
That did look like a
wasn't
bit of a weird...
committed to it, but I was. I thought we were just.
Yeah, should we do that again?
No.
Good, well done.
That was also nice.
All right, you two practice your high fives.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, we're going to go over to DJ Wheat, who's with the winners right now.
Very much, guys. We've got PPD on the stage. Give a big round of applause to EG. Now, I don't do this very often, but can I have a boo for Arteezy, who denied this interview? That was for you, but no. In all seriousness, we still got one more game coming. PPD, I wish that we had like 2 hours to talk about these games. I know, you're probably worn out. I think everyone else was. Amazing games. I want to talk about game 2. Because game 2 was one where you guys started off really strong. Things were looking pretty good. And even the commentators and even the expert desk was saying, I feel like there's a window here early on for EG to end this. Do you agree with that? Do you think that there was a window that you guys missed? And if so, when do you think that was?
We probably missed a couple windows, but pushing into like Rubik is like really difficult. And we made a ton of mistakes. Like everyone on our team made, dozens of mistakes that game, but they played really well, and Terrorblade's really strong. TB
is very strong. So coming off of game 2, you're tied up suddenly. You're backs up against the ropes for game 3. I mean, you guys handled it very, very well. Where did it go right for you guys? Was it the draft? Were you confident afterwards, or was it the initial first kills? What are your thoughts on that?
I think we had a lot easier draft to execute, and I never lose on Abaddon, so.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, give it up one more time for EG. And let's send it back to the T-Mobile expert desk for their analysis.
Thank you very much, DJ Wheat. There's the crowd were busy cheering there, but there's the one eyes guy that just not impressed with that at all, but everyone else is sure. Thanks to PPD for his thoughts on that game. I'm sort of searching for a moment in time amongst these 3 games where there was a game-changing moment. We've got one actually coming up, which is from game one, which was from about I don't know 5 hours ago or something. And this is the point where Loda started off that Roshan. Can you even recall this?
I have no recollection of anything happening in game one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this game, yeah.
Probably about buybacks.
This was about 5 hours ago in the end. But I mean, there were so many of those throughout the whole of those games. So many pivotal moments that things changed round and. At one point they're 10,000 XP ahead and EG are cruising, it's no problem at all, and then suddenly they're 7.5k down in
Look
XP.
at Loda here. It's really like, it's ironic. He gave up his Vladimir's to get that Divine Rapier, and now he's dying because he doesn't have it.
Yeah.
So sad.
It was a really good, as a 3-game series, I think it was fantastic.
Oh, definitely.
But I think if you, I mean, I may well be wrong here, but I think if you look at the heroes that Loda played, he played heroes that were kind of similar in what they needed and the kind of things that they wanted in all 3 games. They wanted the nice stately game. In the late game, he'll become the major pushing force, and the other heroes will have to just help him out. But I think in that final game, Arteezy showed that he could go mid on PA and change the whole game up. And he was able to sort of adapt his game and bring, for that game 3, a different kind of game style. So I think that was what really did it for EG, was that they said, well, look, we've tried it twice. It was 50-50. We lost 1-1-1. Well, let's not take a chance. Let's try something else. We'll do Abaddon, which we know we're strong with, and I'll go PA mid, which I know I'm strong with. So I think that was their game plan.
Yeah, I mean, I think EG in the end, showed us their class. They showed us how good they are as a team. Some individual performances, but and I don't want to overstate Loda's play, but you said it's probably the best you've seen him in a long time. I saw a couple of comments that actually said, are we praising him for just doing what he's supposed to do on anti-mage in game 1? But
I mean, yeah, he was doing what he was supposed to do, but he was doing it really well.
Yeah.
I mean, he made very few mistakes in the anti-mage game especially, and then in the Terrorblade game, he didn't really, like, normally everyone's played a pop game against the Terrorblade. Loda didn't really do that too much. He went for the Radiance pick, played it very strategically, and just made sure that he would get that net worth and the gold gain that he needed in order for them to close the game out later on.
I'm probably being really picky, but it just seemed like, I mean, you made a comment when we were watching game 2 that actually he was so far ahead in gold. He didn't even need to spend any of it half the time, and it might have been better if he'd let Honey farm a little bit better, or let one of the other guys take some of the stuff.
The thing is that
I don't know if that's a mistake. I mean, we're picking holes now in a very, very good performance.
It wasn't only about farming. He was the only one being able to actually outpush lanes safely. Because if Honey goes to a lane, he has to go with his hero, right? And he might be ganked, and they might lose the game on that. Loda was just sending illusions to actually try to game some map control. Right. I want to emphasize his poor performance because if you're Arteezy, for example, game 3, he played an awesome game, right? But you're leading. You have more gold, you have the right item, you don't care about the clockwork because you have the BKB, etc. Loda was playing from behind every game, so he had to be careful with his positioning, his decision making. One bad chrono, one bad blink, one bad menticide, and he almost lost the game. Whereas we couldn't see, but maybe there was like thousands of mistakes from everyone, and he did one, and he could lose the game. So it's so much pressure.
Loda's map positioning and map awareness was extremely
next
good
level
in both games. All those things that are really hard to point out and really hard to see when you observe the game and you follow all 10 players and you follow all the objectives happening. You rarely notice how good a player's map awareness is, and Loda's was just on another level that game.
Okay. Exactly. So you guys were slightly critical of some of the other Alliance players' play. But the fact that Loda was able to do what he did, regardless of that, that was the strength. I mean, he carried it.
Yeah, I think we had a new hashtag actually when Bulldog was on Batrider. I think it was something like hashtag whatever Bulldog wants to do, because we weren't even sure ourselves.
There were some odd moments, I'd say.
One thing we did not mention, I guess, if Loda can have this map awareness, it's probably thanks to the warding of Aka and Misery. You have to have good wards, and it's something we couldn't really. It's obviously the casters that will mention it, but I'm pretty sure they had really insane warding and dewarding, so they could actually see what's going on the map and try to position themselves accordingly.
Where do we assess? I mean, EG obviously going to move on to the semi-finals tomorrow. We're going to see them again, but how do we assess Alliance's performance overall? I mean, they're obviously not going to worry about this too much. I know it's single eliminate, it's one match, but going forward over the next month or two, what's that going to do to them? Are they not going to worry about it? Does it give them confidence? Do they feel like they've got something out of the game?
I mean, I don't think you worry about it. I think you're like, it's another tournament under the belt. We didn't win. We took something away from this. We played against a really strong EG team, and everyone knew going into this tournament, EG is going to perform with this lineup. We've seen time and time again. They are really consistent, all their players, and I don't think Alliance maybe some players aren't satisfied with their performance, but overall, I think they brought a good show.
Yeah, I mean, almost every match that they're playing right now in the early days of this patch is you're learning everything. You're learning something in everything, even if you lose. I mean, I think champion teams often learn more when they lose than when they win, right?
I do want to say, though, in Game 3, EG played superbly well, all of them, but RTC had some luck on those crits. It was like every time he blink struck, it was just like, I'm just going to first hit crit you.
I think it's the luckiest PA performance I've ever seen.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was just blinking to do like.
But that's not taking anything away from him, right?
Sure.
He found the right openings. He
I
went for the plays, but he had luck on his side too. I don't think he needed it though for that game. Like there were a couple of really good crits, but overall, they might have won the game a little bit slower without the luck, but they were still winning.
I think you should definitely be playing the lotto tonight, that's for sure, because that luck was astounding. We're going to go back to the stage now with DJ Wheat. When we come back, of course, it's our fourth and final quarterfinal. Don't go too far away.